So I want to thank you both for coming on and speaking with me today. I know we've had Ellis on in the past. Barnimal, this is our first time speaking to you. And I know that you made recently the full-time transition into trading. So can you talk to us a little bit about that and what made you make that decision?
Well, I've been trading for a little while, and it came down to me not being happy with what I was doing for work and having more of a just drive to do trading, and that this turned out to be my passion. So I had started as a CPA and then worked in Big Four accounting for a little while, and then I moved over to a private equity company, and I was trading on the side, more so long-term investing for the most part, and this became like a hobby for me since like college, and I guess I had been doing pretty well, and it just kind of evolved into me day trading and swing trading and getting into small caps, even though I started out as like a long-term investor for the most part. I learned this. I mean, my dad got me into investing when I was younger in college. But yeah, it turned out to the reason I kind of switched into full-time trading is because I realized I could do better in this than I could doing my normal job, and I would also have a more flexible schedule, and this was just my passion. So
and did you wait to see a certain accuracy or until you had a specific account size before you said, okay, I don't need to rely on my day job?
Yeah, so I had made enough to where I was making more trading than I was in my day job. So over time, I had been making more and more, and then like January and February this year hit. I'd been doing really well. I mean, this all comes with like, I had been doing well in the past, but I've also like lost money on the side, or like done like had spurts where I wasn't as good and not doing as well. But I did find confidence and was more accurate with swings, day trades, scalps. And I was doing this all from my phone, so that was another thing. I didn't have scanners, so I was just kind of winging it. Well, not winging it, but like I would go through and use like different discords as my scanners to figure out plays, and then do research at night, and then go into work. And, But yeah, it turned out I wanted to have enough money in the bank, a certain amount, so I didn't have to worry about it in the future if I did quit. And I got to that point, and I talked to my wife, and my parents supported me, and they were like, go ahead and do it. And I was like, I have to. So I did. And it's been like an amazing month and a half so far. I've loved every second of it.
I like that you brought up the fact that you started trading from your phone and you didn't spend all this additional money on fancy scanners. I think, Ellis, you still trade from your phone, correct? Or have you invested in a computer?
Yeah. I mean, I hit licks through my phone. You know, Barton and I are very similar. Yes. I'm the only guy who can trade options through his phone and like not panic. But I do use a laptop when I do work from home. But right now I'm slightly unemployed because I'm in between jobs. I accepted a new opportunity. But yeah, I'm phone trapping like Barn. You know, we still make it happen. So it's not as bad. I honestly prefer it. It's at times, especially when the market's choppy like this, because I don't have to watch. Right, when I'm sitting in front of my screen and I'm watching the tape on a swing and it's not doing anything, I want to sell, I want to buy more. But if I just leave it on my phone and I know there's trust the chart, let it do its thing.
Yep.
It's pretty beneficial.
And it's a good point to bring up, is that you don't need to have to spend all this money on fancy equipment to be able to learn and actually get in there and trade. And that's a really good point too about the mobility of it. So you can trade anywhere, whether you're getting your hair done. You can just do it like that.
I will say after getting 2 monitors, I just got like cheap ones, and my laptop, I do all my trades on my phone, but I have all the scanners and stuff up, which is awesome. So
he doesn't even scale out. It drives me insane. Like when so like
on swings,
dudes, like we'll be like on voice, like talking, and like I'm like, hey, like I'm loading this up, like it's gonna go like during after hours or whatever. I hear him like fill it on his phone. Like I hear the TOS like bing, and I'm like, you can just set up active trader. Like I literally like I don't like if I have my laptop in front of me, I use my mouse. So like I have like a gaming mouse and I have like 2 buttons. So one I buy a certain amount of shares, and the other one I sell. So just makes it a lot easier. But when I'm on my phone, I just set I set like pre-sells almost. So like I'll just look at certain resistances and I'll just set sells from there. Like today what stock did we trade today? Oh, like Mara. I had a bunch of calls I loaded up after I woke up at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon last night. Well, yesterday. And I just set my sells. So yeah, I know. Dude, it was a rough weekend, like, Bird Gang, stuff like that. But I just set on my phone. So in options, I scale out 50, 100, 150%, and I just roll it. And once I get the notification on my phone, then I go on my way. Because it doesn't, even if I'm sitting in front of a computer, I always have them set just in case, I go walk away to make a sandwich and I come back. I'm collecting my money as I go.
So I started doing that.
But you don't scale?
Oh, I scale. Yeah,
But no, I was saying Barnimal.
Yeah,
do you not?
I do.
Is that how I pronounce that?
Yeah, Barnimal. It was a nickname I was given in college, and I just made a Twitter with it, and here I am. So, but yeah, I know I do scale. I like to scale. Ellis has taught me a lot about options since we've been friends. So I do scale options. I do scale like everything unless I see that like it's not going to continue, and then it's like I'll scale out like a few thousand shares at a time or whatever, but it just kind of depends on the play really. Each play is different in their own, and I just adjust that way. And if I feel like there's going to be like a bid pulled or something, like it's like you want to get out or whatever to just not get trapped sometimes if you're trading after hours pre-market. But I will say I do scale, but sometimes I'll be like
make the record state.
So just to be clear, you scale.
I do I scale everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys, it sounds like you guys bounce a lot of ideas off of each other, but you do clearly have your own personal preferences and strategies. Do you have a possible trade example that we could look at? Because I would love to see like what you're looking at, Barnimal, versus what you're seeing, Ellis, and kind of walk us through how, like, what your thought process is.
Ellis, do you want to pull up like SPIR or something, or EYEG?
Yeah, we made a list. We actually trade.
You came prepared.
We trade
very, very similarly, like almost to the T. We don't really day trade that much. We don't chase Momo. We don't like play alerts. Like our big thing is we get in early, right? But there's two we want to talk about, which is SPIR and iGate, which were like our multi-baggers. We played iGate for like 3 weeks.
We did. We played it, and then it got that Zach's price target upgrade to like 30 or no, not 30, like 15 or something right after we got out, which was stupid. But we did make a ton. I did scale a ton on this one up and down as we got over 210, and then rebought. But yeah, we made a ton on that one, but the news came out after we got out.
Do you see the screen share button on your end, Ellis?
Screen share button. Top left.
Screen?
Oh, yeah. I got it.
Okay.
All right.
So do you swing trade options as well, Ellis, or are your swing trades more for small caps?
I'm opening my platform. I don't swing options when VIX is over 20 because you're just going to have a really bad time. Like, dude, the amount of times that like I've gotten absolutely like mega clapped swinging stuff is pretty bad. But
I will say I do that sometimes, but that'll just be like to pair it with swings that I'm in. For example, I have some BTIF call or BidF calls overnight to go with some shares tonight. So,
what day do we play SPIR? We played the inside day, right?
What's that?
We played that inside day, right? That I had the 3-bar play. Pretty sure.
Which
right?
one?
SPIR.
Yeah. Hold on.
All right.
Well, we got in because we knew that one was going to go with the other SPACs, and it had options, and those have been getting accumulated.
So that was kind of just monitoring the sentiment of what was going on
market
wide?
Yeah. And we did that with a few of these different ones. But yeah, I guess we played. Was it the inside day? We were in it. We were in it.
It was.
Yeah, it's kind of where we started.
So here's SPIR. So we entered, I think it was when all those high redemption SPACs were going,
yeah, the
right?
low float high redemption.
So
SPAC.
we saw IRNT, ARQQ, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Barnes' buddy, Stock Swing Alert.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of ours. We always bounce ideas off him. And he posted DD over the weekend about it's 93% locked up. So we saw this. So we saw the setup here, right? So I'll just mark it just so it's easier for everyone. So we entered on this candle. I'm pretty sure. No, this candle.
It was the.
So
yeah, it was one of those two.
Was it before?
But we wrote it all the way up.
Yeah, it was one of these two. So we saw all the SPACs were starting to gap up like this. And you can't see it now because the moving averages have changed, but it was forming a golden cross here. So a golden cross is a 50 and a 200 SMA. It's super simple. It's like the most standard option thing in the whole world. So we loaded a bunch of, I think it was 15 calls, right? Pretty sure Barn had 3 million and I only had 25 of these calls.
I think I had 200 calls or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I had so many of these things, but it was a high confidence, right? So this is what's called this is an inside bar. So you had this huge engulfing candle here. I call it a green goblin C word, and other people call it a Harambe candle or Mizabulu, whatever. I don't know. So we had this inside day, and we always play these. It's called a 3-day play. So we're T+2, depending on how you word it. So we saw on here. We have option scanners, everything like that. Shout out to Unusual Whales. I use him. And then we saw all these 15 sweeps just pouring in. There wasn't really, the way these things move, right, is not from people buying shares, right? Because every option you buy, it's 100 shares. So people are smacking it with options and it's going up and up and up. And I think, was it closed at $12.95? It closed. And we woke up the next morning and we were 18 plus. I think the contracts, our first set of contracts were 100, 150%. And I think we rolled to the 20s and we sold those up here.
20s were my I rolled. Yeah. So it spiked up on that first day right there, all the way up. And then we scaled a bunch on the top. And then because these things trade just kind of wicky, it was super spready, super thin. So got out on some there, and then I had confidence enough to know that this was going to keep going, which was just a kind of a gut feeling, but also because that is what these stocks were doing this week, and that was the theme. So the way I trade is I like to just get into themes, and I kind of know what to look for there. But
following the trends.
Yeah.
And how do you each kind of plan out where you're going to start scaling? Was this just kind of a previous resistance level that you were looking at? How are you creating that plan before you both enter?
So I actually had fibs on here. I actually deleted them before I shared my screen.
Okay.
So I use Fibonacci's. I don't know if many people know this. So
yeah, I've used them quite a bit.
All right. No, I messed this up. I can't do them live because I'm nervous. But yeah, I use Fibonacci's just to have a general idea. I don't swear by them. I can't do this. But so it's one of those things, right? You just look at the tape and you're seeing how the options are reacting. Even for this one, the price was going down, but our options were still going up, right? And most people, that would almost be counterintuitive. And the way we scaled is I texted Barn. I was like, Barn, we're at 100%. You better sell half. You got to sell half. So how I scale options, right, especially when it's a big mover like this is, so I had about 20, 25 contracts, which for me is regular size. And once I hit 100%, I'm going to be at least out of 50% of my position. So the rest of it is on quote unquote house money, right? So those contracts could go to zero and it wouldn't matter because I'm already in the profit. So we kept scaling and scaling and scaling. And then when they start to dip to about 50%, then we're going to cut them and we're just going to roll the profits. And people really mess this up in options all the time about rolling, right? Because the way I look at rolling is you're squeezing every dollar you can out of it. I mean, every dollar. So say we made I don't know, $1,000 off this trade, right? We're gonna roll contracts. We're gonna buy like 600 or 700 worth, just to squeeze more money out of it, fully knowing that we could wake up and they can go to zero tomorrow, but it doesn't matter because it's a risk-free trade, right? Because we already locked profits all the way up.
I will say, whenever you get 100% on a trade, that's when you selling half is definitely the smart move, and I would recommend doing that just because your house money. I do that on my long-term investments. I do that on my short-term stuff, swings whenever I get it.
I do that on my long terms as well. Like once I hit 100%, I'll sell half, just because you never know that the company could go bankrupt or whatever, and also frees up more liquidity to invest into the next play you think is going to go.
I just did that with UPST. I was in at like 121 and into like 340 something, and then I took half off when I was up like 125%, and then just have the rest long term for house money. So
I did that with Snap.
I know that you mentioned both of you guys were accountants before you started getting into trading.
Yes.
And besides following trends as part of your DD process, what can people who have not been to accounting school and we hire H&R Block to do our taxes or TurboTax,
I would say,
what are like the big things to kind of keep an eye out for with these companies, especially the penny stocks, because they can be a little bit dangerous, I feel like, if you don't know what you're looking at. So what would you both recommend people be on the lookout
I would recommend learning how to read a just basic balance sheet, income statement, cash flows. You can see pretty much everything that you want from there. Statement of cash flows helps a lot. Just seeing how like debt or what the cash situation is on these swings, that's huge. And then just seeing the statement of operations, if the company is operating a loss, profit, or if they're decreasing in loss or decreasing profit, you'll see that there's something wrong comparing quarter to quarter, year to year. That was one of the big things.
So just kind of getting an idea of the health of the company?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely important if you're picking out a swing for me.
Yep.
And how about you, Ellis?
Same thing, but when I look at financials, I more so see. So Bart and I, just to give you background, Bart and I worked for the same firm, just different cities, and then we left and went to private. So I think you were an auditor, right, Bart?
Yeah, I was an auditor for 2.5 years. So I kind of learned how to do. We would audit every financial statement. So that's where I get my kind of background there, knowing exactly what to look for, and even reading the notes for financial statements. Sometimes you can look up keywords and those. You can like control find like acquisition or whatever. Like I was reading a 10K or an 8K. I think it was for one of these companies. I won't say the name, but and it said I looked up acquisition, and they said we do not have plans to acquire or whatever, and we plan to fully dilute going forward. And I was like, okay, that's a big red flag. So I didn't touch that.
Yeah,
one.
the word dilute is a bad word.
Yeah.
You don't know anything else.
It is. Yeah. Especially in these early on companies, because sometimes you never know if they're just going to like dilute to get cash for like management or whatever. But I mean, sometimes this high growth companies, when they're diluting, generally that's for like expansional purposes. So it just depends kind of what you're looking for and what company you're looking at.
Okay. And what are you pulling up there, Ellis?
So this is EYEG. I want to actually do it from scratch so people can learn. So another thing, right? So this is trend, right? So we were noticing like all these kind of like companies that are beaten down off of bad data, whatever. All they know is they have these gaps, right? So I'm highlighting here.
Dirty.
Yeah, something sketchy. And to go back on the financial statements is all these companies will tell you what they're going to do, right? So when these people go, oh, like, why'd they drop an offering? I'm like, if you actually read the notes of their financial statements, they're going to say, hey, in 2 weeks, we need to raise all this money to pay our creditors, right? It's all information, but people don't want to dive into it. But that's what we get. That's what we were paid to do. So that's what we do. So we noticed that all these companies were kind of like these gap downs, accumulation all the way around, and then they were getting sent into the gap, right? So and that's what we did is I think it was around here, right? Beginning September.
Yeah, it was around there, right when it was right on this.
We played this thing. Yeah, the blue line.
Yeah.
So the way I trade, I used to use more EMAs. Now I use a 20, I use the 50, and I use a 200. So it's blue for the 20, red for the 50, 200 for the green. So when I'm looking for a play, right, is I always want to add on this 20 SMA, right? Because that's normally like the accumulation phase, and that's when it starts getting some volume. Because see, you can tell it's bottomed out here. Like you don't want to chase it down here. It doesn't really, it's not firming up or anything. You can see the MACD crossed here. I don't really use MACD ever. So we started adding around here. I think we got under 180.
It was
I think my
175 or something when we got in initially.
Yeah. So we probably entered one of these candles here, and we were just adding under 170, right? We were talking, we're like, okay, we're just gonna smack anything over under 170. So we just keep adding. We got a good pop up here. It's about 202. And as you can see, I highlighted this gap here. So when I'm looking at this on like a 10-minute chart, just like intraday, checking things out, making sure everything's wavy and cool, you see it's in the gap. And you also notice it's a perfect hammer candle right into that gap. So we're going to scale a little bit here. I think we sold a little bit over 2.
Yeah, we did. I did. And then I got...
Yeah, I know Barn did. I was like, nah, dude, we're going to 3.
It's like...
So I should have, but we were up, I think, like 18% at this point.
Yeah, it was a good...
From these ads down here.
This was a solid one.
And then the market started tanking. So Barn scaled a little bit over 2, and then you'll notice, right? It came right back down to this 20.
Red day, and then just kind of rode it back up. And then we got that huge pop to 2.10, I think, right? 2.15 even, maybe.
Yeah. We've got 210 here.
That's where I got another out. And then...
But this is how you have to trade, right? People always talk about trading around your core. Like I don't. I posted like my rules on Twitter, right? Like if we're going to the moon, right? Do you think the astronaut gets paid when he comes back from the moon, or do you think he gets paid a salary on a 6-month trip to the moon or Mars, whatever, right? You got to think about it. People are holding now for Valhalla. Like it doesn't work like that, and like the whole situation that happened today, like it's you just got to keep selling. If you see money, take money. Like I always explain to someone that I own like a sketchy Philadelphia bodega, right? So Erica walks into my bodega. I make the most fire breakfast sandwiches ever, right? And I charge her $5, right? And then Barnworks walks into my bodega, and I charge him $500. Barn's gonna look at me and be like, "What the hell?"
Bro.
Okay, this is an analogy. You're gonna be like, "Bro, like what's going on here?" And I'm gonna be like, "You got to pay yourself, right? Like the bodegas operate a little bit differently than most places."
And not only that, just like Barn just said, you know, he got out some and then he added back in.
Yeah,
so it's not like you can only buy and sell once.
It also...
They do. I've heard a rumor that they do let you trade stocks multiple times, but I could be wrong.
No, I never heard that in my life, dude.
Okay.
No. But I ideally, my favorite thing is just buy stocks really early and just ride them up. Sometimes it just depends on the market right now. For the past like 2 months, it's been like spotty. I mean, you just gotta kind of see what kind of market you're in, and that can like you can scale more or scale less when the market's clean. I just think we need to pull back on SPY so we can get consistent swings again. When everything's consistent, you can hold longer. And there's also depends on your confidence in the company and stock. And
And I know that you mentioned that you are not necessarily the traditional trader. What is it more so? Because I know Ellis was kind of going into the technicals a little bit. What is it that really catches your attention, or that you try to look for?
Well, it kind of depends. I love trends, so I'll see things and certain things that are heating up in the market, and then I'll kind of like look for sympathies and what else could be good in that area. And I'll look at, like, technicals matter a lot to me, but it's also like if I like the company, if they're doing cool stuff, and if they're like gonna do well. I don't know. Today, I slapped BidF just because it was doing well with Bitcoin, and ended up running a little after hours, which was nice. And I know that they had been doing well, but I just saw that the chart was fine. It's just kind of like understanding charts by doing it so much, and then I kind of like get a feel for it, and now I kind of know like what to look for, where's a good place to add, and how heavy to go. But yeah, we generally go heavy on a lot of things, and It works out a lot.
Full sense.
It works out a lot.
Well, that's good.
I would say a good observation I noticed, talking to Barn. How long have we known each other for now? Like a year or two?
Yeah, we've been with the boys for a
little backstory is we both got wasted one night and we're talking on Sapphire, Maine. And then he DM'd me. He's like, "Hey, want to be friends?" And now we're friends.
And now we're boys. Now we go.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
so, it really is. And both of our significant others know about each other. Like my girlfriend's always like, "Who are you? Who you Snapchat?" I'm like, "Dude, it's my boy." From Dallas,
so we're
dude.
Snapchat friends and everything. So yeah, we're
That's
boys.
amazing.
Yeah.
But more so trading wise, I think Barn really understands the story of a ticker, right? Like what do they actually do?
Yeah.
And he's very well versed in what he buys. Like he's not just going to go slap stuff. Like me, I'm much more technical. So I think the way that it works so well is because he understands the story, what the company does. Like here's the statements, here's recent PRs. He reads everything before he hits the buy button. Me, I look at the chart and I go, okay, I like it. Okay, we'll give you credit, but
that's a good but that's a really good mix because most traders do kind of fall into a little bit more of the fundamental analysis or a little bit more of the technical analysis. So that's a really nice balance. So you would say that Ellis, you kind of lean more towards technical analysis, and Barn, you lean more towards fundamental analysis.
Yeah, definitely, I would say so. But by trading every day all the time now, it's like. Can't ignore technical analysis. I've really gotten more well-versed in it. So it's like a little bit of both is pretty sweet. Like I love it. Yeah.
His technical skills have quadrupled and since he's gone full time, it's been pretty incredible to watch.
Yeah.
It's something that would take people years to figure out. He just sits in front of his computer and just grinds and asks the right questions.
We've got a few guys that go on voice with us every day, which helps a lot. We have this one guy, he's an older guy, shout out to Hunt, but he's taught me a lot about just different intraday patterns and all sorts of different things. But he'll tell me exactly what he's looking for, and same with Ellis. But it's nice to hear that from the other guys. Yeah.
Is there a specific technical setup that each of you look for and that you're just like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm getting ticklish and I want this. Do you have a preferred one that you when you see it and you're like, yes.
Go ahead. You go.
I would say I like bottomed out pennies that are sitting on the 20 SMA.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably I have a checkbook, right? Or a box that I check, right? It has to be a former runner, meaning it has to at least have one day where it went absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
Because that means it has a favorable algo on it. There's a chance that could happen again. Because everyone's going to look left, right? And be like, oh, this one day it went 300%.
Yeah.
I like it on some of the SMAs, preferably just bottom out. Not a lot of chatter. I do like floats, under 10 mil. Those are pretty fun.
I love low floaters.
It's not. There's certain things I won't trade. I'll look at something and I'll see the ticker and I'm like, this thing's absolute garbage. I'm not touching it with a 50-foot pole.
And why is that? Is it usually because the float is too high, or it's just been over pumped to death?
I wouldn't even say it's over pumped. I would just say it's just crowded. I don't trade crowds. And I know if I can speak for Barn, he doesn't trade crowds either.
I mean, it depends. Day trades I do. I was scalping CEI
day trading's
a
different.
week ago.
Yeah, momentum scalps, you kind of need that. Mm-hmm.
But when everyone's talking about it and you'll see people put out tweets hey, what do you guys think the big runner is? It's the same 10, 20 tickers over and over and over again. And for me, I'll scalp them all day. That's fine by me, but I won't swing it because it's already the share structure's not clean anymore. There's all sorts of weird algos and shorts and it's just messy. And I like a nice clean trade. It just came out of the shower, freshly shaved, going on its first date.
That's how you like your trades.
That's how I like my trades.
But
and
then
single.
again, it's been beaten down pretty hard.
Yeah, well, she can only go up from here, She's
right. Okay.
I like a nice
3 divorces. It's fine.
Go ahead, Barn. What were you saying?
I like a nice gap on the chart too. That's always nice to have. A nice
to do the gap fill.
Yep. definitely something.
Those are super high probability too. At least, especially recently. It's
Recently, it's been a trend. So it's like this is kind of sometimes what I'm looking for. Like AEI was another one I was in, I guess, a few weeks ago. Traded that one, did really well and gap up. But yeah, that's definitely a plus on a chart for me technically.
And as far as biotechs, because I know that you have a little bit of a specialty in those, is that more of a catalyst-driven kind of swing trade?
I've actually gotten away from biotech investing as much as I used to a lot. That used to be, I mean, when I started investing long term, that would be one thing that I would look into, because my dad was like, "Hey, these are super profitable, but you can also lose your ass on them." So, but you have to find.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what about the sell the news plays?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we do see those a lot.
Yeah, so with biotechs, I don't know. I look for catalysts. I look for good charts. I look for upcoming events. I'm in one right now. Well, I won't say it, but it has like a bunch of upcoming conferences, but they don't have data until December. But the chart is pretty nice, so I'm just going to see how that goes. Maybe like 8 events in October or something. But when I do like playing run ups to catalysts when that's like a theme, because sometimes that is a theme, sometimes it's not. It just kind of depends on the market, and that's kind of relatable to like every type of thing. It just kind of depends what the sentiment is at the time. But I do like a good phase 3 data run up, which is always nice. Not necessarily hold through, but that's generally high probability. My biggest trade ever, I think, was I was more newer to investing, but it was MCRB. Like they had phase 3 data for like a column sorter or something. And I had like a good amount and held through, and it went from like 4 to 30 that day, which was cool. But yeah, that
is there any
yeah, pretty cool.
predictors?
What?
Yeah, right. Is there any predictors of, I think that this is going to be a sell the news event, or this thing is going to fly when that data comes out? Because I mean, a lot of people with biotechs, I mean, obviously you can see on the calendars when their release dates are at least expected to be. So how do you differentiate between what's going to be sell the news and what's not?
A lot of it depends on the disease that the drug is treating. So I'll go through and I'll look at like the market size for the disease or whatever. There was something that I was dealing with that just had wet AMD data. I was like, because I had known about that one, the market size in like 2022 or 2023 is going to be 10 billion. So I was like, oh, if they hit on this, then it's going to go crazy. And if they miss, I think it was ADVM actually, and they had a decent readout, and it went up a lot, and then sold off like the day later. But generally, it's kind of a toss up. So,
okay.
But market size of the drug that they're trying to treat, and however many competitors there are in that, is definitely something to that'll influence that.
Okay. And Ellis, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say 2 things that Barn taught me when it comes to biotechs is Alzheimer's plays are always sketchy when there's news.
They're so sketchy.
And yeah, and also antibiotic plays, right? Because we were swinging antibiotic play and they got really good data, but the market just doesn't like it, right? And I don't know much about biotechs. I normally go to my bio guys for that, and they'll tell me. Yeah. But there's just things I learned, and now if I'm swinging a biotech, I do research like what's the actual marketplace they have for it. Because before I didn't even look at that. I went, oh, ticker ABCD, nice chart. But if it's not something that people actually want, you're not going to get the run up. But if it's something like they're going to cure, I don't know, brain cancer or something crazy, then there's a higher chance to be more anticipation and more hype behind it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, also like competitors. If there's anybody else that has a drug in that space, it's like, for example, like AUPH had lupus drug, and theirs is actually better than GSK's, which also both got like approved at the same time. But AUPH is done better because theirs is better, and they're the best out of the group, I guess. Just another example.
He's well read.
I think my memory about tickers is helpful.
No, it's fine. I mean, we don't have to go through specific examples. I just like to get an idea of what your mindset is, kind of so that someone who is beginning in this space how their thinking should be, like what their process should be. And it's interesting to get both perspectives because, the fundamental versus the technical and kind of how it shifts depending on what kind of stock you're looking at. And on the technical analysis side, for your swing trades, you guys, I assume, are checking mainly for trends on the daily chart. Do you go to weekly as well to identify trends?
I would say mainly daily. Yeah.
I look at both, but daily is the main driver for probably both of us, I guess.
And also volume as well.
Yeah.
Something that we learned recently is like a stock can't make new highs over and over and over again if the volume's decreasing, right? That's something that our good buddy Hunt taught us, which I never thought of, but it makes sense. And these kind of tricks, I have so many Word documents just filled with notes just from what things people have taught me. But we mainly use it daily. Every now and then, maybe whip out the 4-hour, but it's daily chart. I don't cut swings unless I see the daily close and the daily candle.
Hey, what is it?
I see people that are.
What does Ariel use? Ariel uses the hourly, right? Or the 4-hour?
Yeah. Our buddy, he's a Momo trader, so he mainly trades off the 1 hour. I've been using that too for Momo trades, just to understand the range of a stock and where you want to get it. But it really depends on what kind of trading you're doing. But I use the daily. I don't look at the 3-minute chart on a swing trade because you're gonna go insane. You're gonna cut it. I set alerts on my phone. I have 2 accounts, so I have my swing account and my option / degenerate account where I day trade in.
Day trade.
Dogecoin?
Doggy.
I don't want to talk about that.
I'm
Robinhood
sorry.
cost me thousands of dollars on that one. Yeah, it blew my Robinhood, dude. I was pissed, dude. Dude, it filled me for $10,000 on the dog coin, and I didn't even know until the following morning. Dude. Oh, God.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, daily chart always, and then those 3 SMAs. I tried the EMAs, the Ripster Clouds and stuff like that. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah, find what works and, just do that. That's what I...
Yeah.
Just do that.
He makes it sound really
simple. But did you have to go through a lot of trial and error of kind of trying different indicators, different strategies to kind of find what fit you? Or were you just kind of able to see what you liked?
Tons of trial and error for me. I think I used to just slap top movers on Robinhood when I first started in penny stocks. Buy real
the
degenerate type stuff. Yeah, buy the top.
You came from accounting.
Yeah. I mean, people think us accountants we're really really smart, but I think what it comes down to is we're not very emotional, and we look at the data and the numbers. Right, the data and the numbers are going to tell us what our next move is,
and that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, it's
of being able to do that.
I when it comes to stocks, but in personal life, we look at things very differently than most. I walk in a Wawa if you're from the East Coast. And I'm like, I wonder how much money they make here. That's my first thought. Yeah. So.
I was wondering, in some of those gas stations, how much it would cost me to get the soft serve frozen yogurt machine in my own house, but I realized that would be very difficult.
Yeah.
So how about you? How long did it take you of kind of going through trial and error before you started seeing consistently winning trades outweighing your losses?
Me? It took me a little while. I mean, when I started day trading, I did a funny story. I started in Discords in 2018, I think. I joined another one of these, I think it was Trade King Eric's, for 2 months, and I was just slapping stuff without knowing what was going on. And I quit to go back to long-term investing, or whatever, swing investing of large caps. But then I came back, and then it just took me, once I started to really what I was this stuff and figure it out, I guess it probably took me 3 months or so. It took me a while to just figure out what things are, because I was using line graphs, not candlestick charts when I started, like a noob. I had to learn candlesticks a month after I joined Discords and stuff, and then figured all that stuff out. And then really intraday, the only things I really use are the VWAP and the AEMA and volume bars. But yeah.
What was the most difficult thing for each of you? I'll ask you, most difficult thing for you to overcome with your trading. We'll start with you, Barn.
My most difficult thing it was doing it all while I was working full time, and at my job that I just recently quit and went full time after. I was like a controller at a private equity company, so I was like actually doing stuff all the time and also trying to manage my trades while like on the phone and like all sorts of stuff. So I think that was the biggest thing. And once I started to get more consistent, which I guess that happened like last year, like in October, November, then it started to click more. And yeah, but just trading my phone while working was the hardest thing.
And how about you, Ellis?
I would say for me would probably be emotions and sizing, because I think when I stopped like caring as much, as like kind of simple as that sounds, I started making more money, right? Like for example, today with Demar, like I woke up at like again 3 in the afternoon, I was up 200%, like and like I was the chart worked, like wow. I would say definitely emotions. The biggest thing is just control it, right? At the end of the day, I really love long-term investing. Like I have stocks that I'm gonna hold the rest of my life that are up like 500%. Like that's what I like, and I use trading to kind of fund that. But just emotions, and like a good thing is today, right? With all the drama that happened and everything. I'm referring to CEI and all that.
Lots of drama.
Yeah, just like dude, it was up like 1,000%. What did you expect? I mean, that's my thing. Like, I would never buy something if I looked at that chart and saw how extended it is. I would never buy that. That's not. I buy the bottom and I sell to the chasers. I don't. They don't. The chasers don't sell to me. Like
jump into the bid on the chasers.
Yeah, like there's 2,000 volume after hours. I'm just gonna slam into the bid and lose 50 cents a share, dude. Like. But nah, it's just emotions. I mean, it's a really emotional game, and a lot of my mentors, especially, we always talk about this guy Hunt. He's like our Italian mob boss dad.
Yeah.
His saying is always like trade like Spock, I think it is, right?
Spock, yeah, that sounds right.
Isn't it Spock? Then I had to I don't know. I think it's from Star Trek. He's old, so he's
gonna
listen to this.
No, I've never seen Star Trek or Star Wars.
But we had I think it was last Thursday where we felt like we actually were fighting Mike Tyson all day because like nothing was working, and you could hear like spirits are down, and he just went on along his business like, I'm just gonna take another trade. And for me, especially being younger, hearing someone that's been in the game for over a decade, it just puts things in perspective for me. And like if I'm having a bad day, like he'll just play "Pump Up the Jams," which is our new song on our voice chat. Get a few laughs. Yeah, like it's like after hours and we're ready to go for something crazy. Just staying calm. It's not that. And also another thing is knowing now when to trade and when not to trade. So I trade options, which are like the most deadly force of all of Robinhood and Webull, and sometimes there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, like
we saw that this week. It was just
nothing. Just
no volume.
Take a 3% runner, like find something with Momo, find like a nice little like 3-minute bull flag, scalp it for a few percent, and go do something else.
Yeah, if there's not a trade, I mean, you don't have to trade every day. I've been trying to be better about that. If the market sucks and the volume's not there, I mean, don't worry about it. Like there's gonna be more opportunities. We're about to get to the
You're just gonna chop yourself up.
Yeah, it's so
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Don't chop yourself up. That's it. Like chop, I guess how would I explain chop? It's like you're making money and then you're losing a little bit more, and like you're just all over the map and you're almost over trading. I guess I would say. But I just hold my swings, and if they don't work, I sell them and I buy a new one. It's not the end of the world. I know that my setups and my system is profitable in the long term, and I can teach it to anyone. It's really, really simple. It's taught to me in like 2 weeks. And if I like something, I'll bring it to my buddies. Like I'll bring it to Barn or some of the other guys I talk to and say, hey, what do you think of this setup? And they'll give me the thumbs up or thumb down. And if I get enough thumbs down, maybe I'm missing something that they see that I don't.
And that's nice to have that collaboration. So you guys are kind of constantly learning off of each other.
Yeah. Definitely. And there's a few other guys. I'll give them shout outs. Bull Dab, Stockmucker Show, all these other guys, Zonic and Bioslayer and KG. But we bounce these ideas off of each other every day, and we'll just figure out what works.
Well, thank you guys both so much for taking the time to come and speak to me today. I know it was a very eventful day, and hopefully it will be one again tomorrow.
We're going to have a 200% ripper at Open 90. No, I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m., slap the full account. I'm going to be rich, dude. Yachts.
Yeah, paid rooms, options, yachts.
Yeah. That's my fantasy team. Is paid rooms, options, yacht. I don't run a paid room. I'm also a guy. I don't know why all these people on Twitter think I'm a girl.
It might have something to do with your profile picture.
And also, I go to the bar and I'll find some girl to like say a voice memo for me. So I'll put that out there. Just people really think I'm a girl. Like it's weird.
Well, I just want you to be. I just want you to be the woman in your picture.
Hey, that's a family member of mine. All right.
But I love her. So could you put her
on? She talks more than I do. Be careful.
There you go. Well, thank you guys again so much, and we'll have to see how things go tomorrow. But hopefully, another fun day.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us on. This was fun.
Thanks so much. I love the Trader Babes. I love Erica. I love Barn. Shout out to all the homies in the struggle.
Yeah. I forgot to say shout out.
Oh yeah, any plugs you guys want to do? Feel free.
Oh yeah, visit my Etsy store. I sell hand knit scarves.
Yeah.
No, but this week's gonna be slow. I don't plan on really trading much this week. Just chill out. Mid-October will come. We'll get the oversold rally, and we'll go bananas. We'll make it all back.
November is going to be hot, and December is going to be hot.
Yep.
December and
January.
Yeah, we're about to get into a fun time.
So
don't blow it now.
Better to learn now, right? And get ready.
Yeah, that's fair.
One side note is I think everyone, including myself, has blown their account between September and mid-October. I think every trader I've ever talked to, this is when they blow it. Yeah, I did last year as well. Just don't blow it up. Your time will come.
And don't forget
Mine actually happened around Thanksgiving time, but it was a very stupid decision.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
I would say another bit of advice before we're done here. Don't forget to pay yourselves, everybody. Paying yourself is definitely something that you should start doing. And I didn't do it last year, and I regretted it, and then lost some money. But now I do this full time. But also, I still started paying myself when I was working. But yeah.
Do you do that on a weekly basis or monthly?
I don't have a really. Some people have schedules. I kind of, if I have a big day, I'll pay myself.
Just do it when you want.
Yeah. So since I stopped working, I've been paying myself a ton. I mean, I paid myself and done well. Whenever I was green, withdraw a certain amount, even if you do it by the week. But yeah,
I do the same as well. If I had a really big day, I just take half. I work a full-time job and I love my career, and I just trade because I don't know, it's fun. I enjoy the mental challenge and the emotional challenge. But if I have a really big day, my account's up 50% because I hit an absolute monster. I'm gonna take out half. And I'm going to throw it a mutual fund or some sort of long-term investment. I always preach that P&L, the bank doesn't care about your profit and loss. They care about your assets. Mm-hmm. So assets are the most important thing. I used to work in investment banking and stuff like that. So side plug.
So you want to keep your money working for you. That's a good point to put it into investments.
I have my separate long-term that I deposit into, and I've kind of been preaching on Twitter about it a little bit, but I think it's a good way to, because this is how I started, was long-term investing. So just to have things on the side, don't have to worry about them every day, but they are still making you money. Even if they're losing money, you just scale in, scale out. Just scale down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when the market's tanking right now. All the big boys are buying right now. It's on sale. We're going to the Gucci store half off right now. Stock up. This time next year, if you actually start investing long term, you could have a 70% year off of not doing anything. So
just by buying the dip.
Just
buy the
never
dip,
stop
and
buying.
also if you want to load up some leaps, yeah. Unless the market goes to zero and we lose everything, but then we'll get into real estate. That's fine.
And you can sell covered calls on your long-term investments too, so you're making money. I need to be better about that, but
Yep.
it's definitely something that you can do.
Yeah, I'd actually love to have an episode where we cover that a little bit on how to do the selling cover calls, how to hedge positions, just different kind of things you can do with options, because it's hard when you're learning options. There's just not a lot of good material, educational material, like from one source. I feel like everything is scattered, or maybe that was just for me.
It's scattered.
It's crazy.
That's
Okay.
what I do. I sell covered calls. I've been selling covered calls on Snapchat for like 3 years. Not 3 years, like 2.5 years. And I collect like a couple $100 a month with a 90% profitability rate. If you know support and resistance, like on days like today, like when the market's starting to rip and I think it's going to go down tomorrow, I'll sell a couple covered calls that expire at the end of the week, collect a little bit of premium, and on my way I go. It's not as hard as people make it. It's just got to watch a lot of YouTube videos and make the right choice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as it sounds.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erica. Love
Bye.
you. And Barn.
Love you guys.
Mwah, love
Bye.
Oh, yes, you gave me a kiss. Bye-bye.
Want more Trader Babes? Subscribe now and connect with us on social media for exclusive content and access you won't find anywhere else. And we'll see you right here on the next unforgettable episode of Trader Babes.